about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Welcome, everybody. It is time. It's time for the UFC Vegas 73 Picks and Prediction Show by yours truly, Cage. This is Cage My IQ. I am on the Bloodline Entertainment Network. All you guys got to do to follow the Bloodline Entertainment Network is to subscribe to the Bloodline Entertainment Network on YouTube at www.youtube.com/@thebloodlineent. You can follow the network on Twitter at the same handle. We're on IG as well and Twitch. So find out all the great content that we have in the sports realm, wrestling, MMA, entertainment, and even animated. Check it all out on the Bloodline Entertainment Network. And of course, you can find me on social media for Cage My IQ on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube under the handle Cage My IQ. On Twitter, I am under @Cage IQ. So give me a follow and follow us on YouTube at www.youtube.com/CageMyIQ. And please, for this video, do me a favor, smash the like button down below and hit us up in the comment section. Let me know what you think of my picks and predictions for this Saturday's UFC Vegas 73 event taking place at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. Now, before we get into the picks and predictions, just give a shout out to Fighters First. That is the new home for the Cage My IQ merch. Mike Ginn is the mad maestro at the helm of Fighters First. So all you got to do to check out the new merch is to go to fightersfirst.shop, go to the Cage My IQ collection, and buy one of our new shirts that we have out with the new logo. We got it in white, we got it in gray, and we got it in green. So definitely check out one of them. They're comfy shirts. I definitely rock out with the right one. So check them out, buy them, and let me know what you think of the merch at fightersfirst.shop. Let's get into the action here. I can't wait to talk about this fight card. This is the last one before the 1 week break for Memorial Day. And then we got a nice stretch of fight cards going. They just announced a whole slew of fights for the summer. So basically, we're all set for June to August. But let's get started with this fight card here. And we got 12 fights listed on the ignition here. The first one that we have is a welterweight battle between Takashi Sato versus Thamba Grimbo. This is going to be taking place at the welterweight division. This is an interesting one here. You got both these guys. It's a 50-50 fight. They're both coming off of losses. You got Takashi Sato with a 3-fight losing streak, as you see right there. And then you got Thamba Grimbo losing his debut against AJ Fletcher there. You got Thamba Grimbo, who's more of a rangier fighter. He is pretty decent with his grappling. He has good leg kicks. He has good movement. He just isn't really sharp with his striking with his hands. But then you got Takashi Sato. He has power in his hands. He's more rangier. He can connect with combinations. And it's really just about who's going to do more with what they have. Is Thamba Grimbo going to be able to land with those leg kicks and keep Sato at bay, or grapple up with them along the cage and use those knees and elbows? Or is Sato going to land those power shots and do some damage to Grimbo? And I'm going to go with Takashi Sato by second round knockout in this matchup. I think he gets it done. I think he lands some big shots on Grimbo. There's points in Grimbo's fights where he gets slower and he doesn't read shots very well. And I think he gets caught with a shot by Sato and then he gets laid out. So in this one, I'm going with Takashi Sato by second round knockout. Moving on to the next fight on the card, we got a women's flyweight battle between Victoria Leonardo going up against Natalia Silva. This should be a no contest in this one. We got a fringe fighter in Victoria Leonardo. She is plus 400. And then, of course, we got Natalia Silva. She's coming into this fight at the huge minus 550 favorite here, one of the biggest favorites on the card. Victoria Leonardo, she's just decent in every category. She's decent with her striking, decent with leg kicks, decent in the clinch up. She doesn't do anything great, but she's pretty decent when she's going up against other fringe fighters that don't excel at anything. But we got a prodigy moving up the ranks in Natalia Silva, who is great at Muay Thai, great at her jiu-jitsu game. In her last fight, she won by the leg kick. She has power. She has speed. She has everything that you want in an upcoming fighter. And it's just a matter of will she finish Leonardo in this fight, or will Leonardo be able to last the 4-3 rounds because of just the massive skill disadvantage she's going to be at. I got Natalia Silva finishing her by the second or third round KO or sub. It's just a matter of what she goes into this fight game planning for. Is she going to game plan for the sub, or is she going to game plan to stand up and trade shots with Leonardo because she's going to be the faster fighter, getting off more strikes than once every couple of seconds striking of Leonardo. So I'm going with the huge favorite here in Natalia Silva by second or third round sub or KO. Let's move on to the third fight on the prelims. We got a men's lightweight matchup between the Chase Hooper versus Nick Fury. We got Chase Hooper making the move up from featherweight to lightweight. He is coming in off of a loss, and so is Nick Fury. Chase Hooper is the minus 120 favorite. Nick Fury is the minus 105 underdog. I think just the matter of the fact that Chase Hooper is making the move up to lightweight, that makes it more of a 50-50 because he has the smaller build. He is a little bit bigger than Nick Fury is, but he doesn't have the striking capabilities that Nick Fury does. But at the same time, Nick Fury isn't that established as a striker. He prioritizes his way at getting the fight down to the ground and then doing work there. He's more of a submission artist with adequate striking, but just not anything spectacular. But then you got Chase Hooper. He has the more extensive jiu-jitsu background. He has good leg kicks. He has good movement, and he prioritizes get the fight to the ground and submit his opponent. And in fact, he might be the better jiu-jitsu artist of the two. I think Nick Fury's is more like a wrestling based, but he doesn't focus on it. He's more like he doesn't know what he wants to do in the octagon. He just kind of goes with the flow. If he's striking, he's striking. If he's grappling, he's grappling. He doesn't have a mindset of which he wants to do. And I think that factors into me picking Chase Hooper by second round sub here because with Chase Hooper, he's going to come in there. He's going to look to grapple up with Nick Fury, get him with the body lock, the leg trip, and then do work on the ground. And we've seen that he can do good with his striking. His striking has improved. He's showcased the range, the leg kicks, and he's putting on meat as well. He's trying to put on weight to make it harder for his opponents to deal with them. So I'm going with the guy in this matchup that has more experience in the UFC octagon, and I'm going with Chase Hooper by second round sub. Moving on to the next fight here. This is a fight that I think a lot of people are going to be split on for good reasons. We got a heavyweight battle between Ilir Atifi going up against Rodrigo Nascimento. In this fight, we got two big guys who are good power strikers with their grappling games, but one is really wrestling and one is more jiu-jitsu. You got Ilir Atifi. He's coming in underdog. You got Nascimento, who's coming in the favorite here, as you see him below, plus 130 and minus 155. And Nascimento's coming in. He lands pretty decent power overhand shots, but the more singular, he prioritizes using those sometimes to get into the clinch, and then he uses his weight to push his opponents to the ground, and then he likes to control them on top or look for submissions with his jiu-jitsu background. Whereas you got the sledgehammer Latifi, who is pretty good with his striking. He knows how to throw combinations. He throws to the body, and then he throws power shots with the looping shots to his opponent. And he has knockout power. That's why he has the nickname the sledgehammer. But then a very underrated part of his game is his wrestling. He can get into the clinch with his opponents, take them down, and he can transition well on the mat and control his opponents as well. But he knows how to use it. He uses it to set up the top game, where he likes to do the top damage with his striking and do the ground and pound. And that's why in a matchup like this, I'm going with the underdog here by a decision. I'm going with Ilir TV getting this done because I feel like he's going to land more in top guard. And I always favor the wrestler over the jiu-jitsu artist when it comes to battling in the clinch. And I don't think the 10-pound advantage by Nascimento is going to be a big advantage on Latifi. I think Latifi is going to be able to get the advantage when it comes to battling for control with getting their opponent to the ground. He's going to do that. And he's going to be the better striker here that lands more volume. So I'm going the underdog here by decision. I think this is a good play in betting this week, and I'm going to be looking to bet him to win with the money line and by decision as well. So I'm going with Ilir Latifi by decision in this battle. Moving on to the next fight on the prelim, we got a pretty low-level battle in the ranks of the welterweight division. We got Orion Kosuke going up against you know it. You got the Ultimate Fighter finalist Gilbert Urbina making his trek back to the octagon. You got Kosuke, the minus 160 favorite. You got Urbina, the plus 130 underdog. I'm kind of curious of how they came up with the odds here because, as you see here, you got Gilbert Urbina, who's coming in at 6'3", and then you got, of course, Kosuke 5'11", and then you got the reach advantage of 3-inch reach towards Urbina. So he's got the height advantage, he's got the reach advantage. On top of that, you got the jiu-jitsu advantage. He has a high extensive jiu-jitsu background. You saw him give Brian Battle fits before Brian Battle hit him with a great shot after the first round edit and the final fight of the Ultimate Fighter there. And then he has decent range with his striking. He'll land on the leg kicks, land those crosses, the uppercut. He has range with the shots. It's just that he hasn't gotten that win yet to establish himself. Whereas Orion Kosuke, he does have the power. He does have the wrestling, but he tends to use the overhand hooks with the striking to set up the wrestling. And a guy like Gilbert Urbina with the bigger reach and with the tall frame, he's going to be able to deal with that wrestling, defend some of the takedowns, and then keep at range to land more shots with his legs and to set up his jiu-jitsu. And I could see a scenario where he gets into the clinch, takes down Kosuke at his own game, or push him up against the cage, and then look for the back of Kosuke and get one of those crazy submissions via a rear naked choke. So in this one, I'm going with Gilbert Urbina with the upset with a third round rear naked choke submission. But I would not be surprised if early in this fight, the Ryan Kosuke catches Urbina sleeping with a knockout shot. So I do think that Kosuke by knockout first round is in play in this fight. But if the fight goes any longer than that, past the 2-3 minute mark in the first round, I got Gilbert Urbina winning it by late submission round 3. Let's move on to, of course, the next fight. We got a women's strawweight matchup between Carolina Kovacevic going up against Vanessa Donopoulos. This is going to be a very interesting battle of two women with similar traits here. You got Carolina Kovacevic. She's very good with the kickboxing. She's very good with movement. She has a decent grappling. But then you got Vanessa Donopoulos, who is a grappler. She's going to look for submissions. She has good takedowns. She has good guard game on the ground, but she struggles against range. She struggles against fighters who keep range and can defend takedowns. We saw against Maria Oliveira in our last fight with the win that you see right there that she barely won by decision because she was able to take down Maria Oliveira and avoid those shots on the feet where they were trained in striking. Because in the striking battle, Maria Oliveira was just damaging her with shots, damaging her with the leg kicks and the elbows. And if Carolina Kovacevic can defend the takedowns like she showcased in the past and how I feel like she's going to be like, this should be an easy victory for Carolina Kovacevic with the striking. And I could see a decision victory or late finish for Carolina Kovacevic. But if she struggles with the takedowns, defending them, then that'll leave an opening for Vanessa Donopoulos to take the victory here, possibly by early to mid submission via guillotine or rear naked choke, just like in the last fight. But I'm going to go with the fighter with the more skill set, the better striking, and then the takedown defense. So I'm going with Carolina Kovacevic winning it by volume and picking up the win by decision on UFC Vegas 73. Let's move on to the next fight here. We got a matchup here, which is going to be the prelim main event before we get to the main card. We got a lightweight and men's battle between Mashate versus Vladislav Borshev. You got Mashate, who's the plus 130 underdog. We got Borshev, who's the minus 155 favorite here. I'm going with Vladislav Borshev here. I think he finally gets that matchup where he doesn't have to deal with the big time grappler looking to take him down 5, 6, 7, 8 times, like in the past two matchups that he's had against Mark Diakese and Mike Davis. Those are just two grappling experts that have vast motors and great cardio and can then just take you down at ease. Mashate, he's more of a power striker with the knockout power, who also, he does have a wrestling background. He just doesn't use it. In his time in the UFC, he has not attempted one takedown. And this could change, and then he could look to take a takedown in this fight. I just don't see it with his past background since joining the UFC. But then you got Borshev, who has joined Team Alpha Mare. He's done a little bit better takedown defense, but he has great boxing, great hand speed. He throws combinations when he's given the chance. He can move around well. And as long as he doesn't have to deal with the threat of the takedown in this fight, I think he pieces up Mashate, and there's a chance that he gets the knockout here. So I'm going with Vladislav Borshev getting the first round KO over Mashate. So I'm going with the minus 155 favorite in this matchup due to his striking and his combinations that he throws, plus the power in his hands. And the key factor will be his much improved takedown defense if he has to use it against Mashate. So Vladislav Borshev, first round KO. Let's move on to the first fight on the main card here. We got a men's lightweight battle between Michael Johnson going up against the returning Diego Ferreira. We got two guys here going. It seems like different directions. We got Diego Ferreira coming back after having almost a year off. He is on a 3-fight losing streak. Then you got Michael Johnson, who's coming off a pretty decent, impressive win in his last fight. I feel like that loss in between should have been a win, and he should be riding on a 30-fight win streak. But of course, judges change things, so he's only on a 1-fight win streak. But this is going to be a very crazy matchup here with him, the underdog, and Diego Ferreira, the favorite. You got Michael Johnson, who has the striking background. He has very good takedown defense, and he has knockout power. But then you got Diego Ferreira, who's coming in. He has very good jiu-jitsu, good wrestling, but minimal striking. He doesn't do that much on his feet. It's all prioritized to get the fight to the ground and do damage there with his jiu-jitsu and the ground and pound. And that's why I'm going with the underdog in this matchup, Michael Johnson, possibly the win by knockout round 1 or 2. I just think that his takedown defense, which is surprisingly one of the best in the UFC, as long as he uses it to his advantage and he gets his striking going, he should have an easy matchup here. Again, waste of Diego Ferreira in the first or second round. Diego Ferreira has showcased that he doesn't take punches well. And he showcases that if he can't get the takedown, that he has hard times in the UFC. And that's why he's on a 3-fight losing streak, and he hasn't fought in over a year. He's been trying to work on it, and he's been practicing his striking so that he can have something to go with the grappling part of this game. But this isn't the right matchup to take here. I got the underdog at plus 120. Michael Johnson winning by knockout. I'm going to look to take Michael Johnson and bet in by the money line there, plus 120. And depending on what the odds are by the under 1.5 rounds, I'm going to possibly play that as well. But it could change come when they announce the lines in the next day or two. So keep an eye out on Cage's bet slips for part of that. But I'm definitely going Michael Johnson to win this one by knockout. Moving on to the next matchup here on the main card, we got a men's welterweight battle between Andre Viallo and Joaquin Buckley. We got the move from Joaquin Buckley to middleweight all the way to welterweight. This is going to be a problem matchup for Andre Viallo. Andre Viallo does have good striking. There's good combinations, good leg kicks. He has good movement and has knockout power, but he has shown in the last 2 fights that it seems like maybe he doesn't have a chin anymore. He's coming off of 2 straight knockout losses and possible 3rd straight had he lost to Cameron Van Camp when Van Camp stunned him but didn't get the finish. And then, of course, Fiallo came back and knocked out Van Camp later in the round. But you're going up against a guy with a bigger frame who's cutting weight in Joaquin Buckley, who has knockout power. He has good wrestling, good grappling, and just has good fighter IQ. And it's coming off of 2 losses where you feel like he needs that win as well. He's going to come in hungry, and that's why he's making the move down. He feels like the move down is going to be better for him. He's going to be able to use the power, the range, and just the viciousness to fight these guys at the lesser weight here. He's going to be able to put some weight on. He's going to have that advantage, and it's going to give him more opportunities at success in the UFC. So that's why I'm going with Joaquin Buckley by first round KO in this matchup. He's price tagged at minus 175, which is a perfect spot for him. It's not too big, but it gives you leeway when it comes to betting him. So I'm going to definitely look to bet Joaquin Buckley by the money line in this one, and possibly going with by KO as well. I'm going to monitor the lines here to see how it is by KO and to see how it is by KO round 1, and possibly also under 1.5 rounds, depending on what they are. It all depends on what the lines are and what I'm going to be playing. But I'm definitely going to be playing Joaquin Buckley here. I think this is a perfect matchup for him to get back in the win column, definitely with the move down from middleweight to welterweight. And this is just a bad matchup for Fiallo, especially a guy, like I said, with a bad chin now. He's going to be tested by Buckley, and Buckley's going to knock him out again and put him in a loss again to a 3rd straight loss. So I'm going with Joaquin Buckley by first round KO. Let's move on to the featured bout here In UFC Vegas 73, we got a women's catchweight battle between Emily Ducote versus Lupita Godinez, aka Loopy. Lupita is taking this fight on short notice. It was supposed to be Emily Ducote versus Polyana Viana, but Polyana Viana had to withdraw from this fight. So Loopy has taken this fight on short notice, hence why it's a catch weight 120 pounds, which is perfect for both fighters. You got Emily Ducote, who's the plus 120. You got Loopy, who's minus 150. Loopy's going to come in with of course, the wrestle and jiu-jitsu background. She's pretty decent on her feet with her leg kicks and her movement, but all wrestle based, getting into the clinch, throwing the knees and elbows, get the fight to the ground and control there with the clinch. Moving transitions, looking for subs or throwing ground and pound, depends on the situation. But she's all based on getting the fight to the ground, whereas Emily Ducote is the opposite. She has that Muay Thai kickboxing based background. She's looking to throw the leg kicks to set up her hands, throwing combinations, moving around, defending takedowns, just getting it into a range stand-up battle where she can land volume and possibly finish her opponent. And it's all going to be predicated on her defending the takedown against Loopy. If she can defend the takedown, she has a chance of winning the fight by volume. If she doesn't defend the takedown, it's going to be a long day for her because Loopy can just go takedown after takedown after takedown attempts all day. That's what she trains for. And that's why I'm leaning towards Loopy win this by decision, possibly by sub late in the third round. I just think that Emily Ducote is not going to be able to withstand the constant takedown attempts. She's going to be able to defend some, not all of them, but I predict that Loopy's going to take her down 2-3 times, control on the mat, land damage on the mat, and the win by unanimous decision victory in this matchup at minus 150. I think that's good odds there. I think it's very generous considering the fact that she took it on short notice. I was hoping that they would give her the underdog mark here because of that, but that they know who the favorite is in this fight, and that's the fighter with the more experience in the UFC with the win totals as well. And it's based off of her grappling and clinch game, and that's why I'm going with Lupita Godinez by decision in this matchup. Let's move on to the co-main event of the evening here. We got a men's middleweight matchup between Edmund Shabazian going up against Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. This is a fun battle. You got Edmund Shabazian, the plus 245 huge underdog. And then you got Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, the minus 315 favorite. Anthony Hernandez is going to have of course, the grappling background. He has great jiu-jitsu. He has good wrestling. He has good leg kicks and good striking. He's going to look to take the fight down to the mat. We've seen the past couple of fights. He is very good at getting into the clinch and looking for submissions. He also has good gas tank. But then on the opposite side, you got Edmund Shabazian, who's great with his boxing combinations, hands. He has knockout power. He has good range. He has good cardio. But the Achilles heel with him is his takedown defense. And he's been more kind of one-dimensional, where he's more of the striking aspect than he is of using striking and then using the clinch game. And it's gonna this battle is going to take place and be decided by that. Can Edmund Shabazian defend a takedown, or will Anthony Hernandez get him to the mat and win that way and control the striking that is done on the feet by getting the fight down to the mat? I'm going with the huge upset here. I know everybody's going to be taking Anthony Hernandez because of that. I think Edmund Shabazian controls that narrative by being able to strike from a distance and not let him get close enough to land takedowns. And he's going to land those shots and possibly stun Anthony Hernandez. A lot of people are looking too much into the fact that Shabazian's last fight was against Dolce Lungiabora, and it was a low-level fighter with a grappling background that he was able to control and knock out and finish. Whereas I feel like it's not that big of a difference in from Dolce to Anthony Hernandez, and I do think that he can stuff the takedowns from Fluffy Hernandez, and he can land the damage, throw the combinations, and do enough to slow down Fluffy, so he's not thinking about takedowns after takedowns, and he has to respect Edmund's striking game, and that's what's going to lead to Edmund being able to land shots, move around, get the leg kick going to the calf, and then eventually I think he gets the finish mid to late second to third round here. So I'm going the major underdog here, taking a chance in Shabazi by mid to late knockout here. I just think that knockout power and the striking can do enough to minimize what Fluffy Hernandez can do on the mat with this grappling. So I'm going with Edmund Shabazian to win this one by mid to late knockout. Moving on to the main event of the evening. This fight was actually supposed to take place last week, but they had pushed it to this week with the main event of this fight card getting canceled due to injury by Renato Moicano. Sorry to hear that by Moicano. Wish happy recovery for him so that he can come back and get that main event fight that he was looking to fight in. But we got a women's strawweight battle between Mackenzie Dern coming in the minus 185 favorite mark versus Angela Hill, who's the plus 155 underdog. This is a very fun matchup here in the main card. Good for them to get that spot and to get that shine. You got Mackenzie Dern, high level jiu-jitsu and kickboxing background. She likes to mix up the leg kicks with her jiu-jitsu. She has good hands. She's kind of the last couple of fights tried to focus on her striking and then have that jiu-jitsu grappling background as the secondary. She wants to evolve as a fighter and not be known for just the grappling takedowns and submission game that she has. So I've been monitoring her the last couple of fights, and we've seen that. Hence why she has those couple losses kind of mixed in because of that. I do feel like she did win that last fight against in the last fight against Tessitores, as she should. Yan Xiaonan, I thought she parted out, but then Yan Xiaonan took the fight late in that fight with the striking. And it's going to be a different fight against Angela Hill. Angela Hill has good striking. She has good takedown, really good takedown defense. She has good movement. She has a glass chin. She has one of the best chins in the division. You're not ever going to knock her out. The closest you're going to get when she was stunned by Amanda Lemos, but that is it. When she loses the striking battle, and she gets taken down a few times. That's how you beat her. You beat her with the well-rounded game plan of striking and grappling, and that's what I see with Mackenzie Dern. I see Mackenzie Dern using the striking to set up the takedowns, and then also at the same time using the takedowns to throw those leg kicks and to throw those overhand shots. She's going to try and throw a lot of volume. She's showcased that she can fight these main events. This is going to be her, I think, second or third main event in the UFC, and she can go all 5 rounds and land a lot of volume as well. So it's just going to be a matter of how many takedowns she can land to kind of utilize the advantages and not fight from behind, because the more time she gives Angela Hill to stick around in this fight, the harder it's going to get for her to win, because Angela Hill is the type of fighter that ramps up and gets going as the fight goes on. She's a slow starter and it hurts her at times, but if she can get going and still be in it, with it being a 5-round fight, that's going to predicate towards Angela Hill in this battle. But I feel like Mackenzie Dern's going to be able to control the fight from the beginning, land those shots, land more striking, get the takedowns, and just control this fight. It might be like a close fight on the judges' scorecards round wise, where it could be like a 3-2. But I think the advantages go to Mackenzie Dern because I think she has the better grappling with her jiu-jitsu and wrestling background, and I think she can edge Angela Hill in the volume count. Even though Angela Hill might have the better striking, I think Mackenzie Dern would land more volume, which that mixed in with the grappling edges out Angela Hill on the scoring cards for the rounds. So in this one, I think it goes to the judges scoring, and I'm going with Mackenzie Dern by decision. I even think this could go to split decision. So if that's something that you feel like is going to happen, definitely bet this fight to be by the split decision in this matchup. But I'm going with the favorite here, Mackenzie Dern at -185. I'm going with her to win by unanimous decision victory over Angela Hill in this main event matchup on UFC Vegas 73. I wrap things up for UFC 73, UFC Vegas 73 picks and predictions by yours truly, Cage from Cage My IQ. You can follow me, as I said in the video, you can follow me on the Bloodline Entertainment Network on YouTube at www.youtube.com/ at the Bloodline ENT. And you can also follow and subscribe to me on social media for Cage My IQ on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm on Twitter at CageIQ. And then, of course, if you haven't done so already, please smash the like button down below and hit the notification bell so whenever any content gets put out, you guys are the first to get it and see the announcements. And please leave me a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think of the predictions and give me your hindsight and your picks for this Saturday's UFC Vegas 73 fight card. And definitely, if you're froggy, if you want to, leave me a donation on Cash App. The Cash App link will be down in the info section. It's not expected, but it is appreciated. All the content I put out, I do it for you guys. So if you guys want to leave a donation, hit me up on the Cash App in the info section. Like I said, not expected, but appreciated. But other than that, that'll wrap things up for today's show. I will be back next week. I won't have a prediction show for you guys since there will be a week off of UFC, but I plan to release you guys WWE, of course, Clash of Champions picks and prediction show, and also NXT Battlegrounds prediction show as well. So keep an eye on the channels for those two videos and check out any of the other content that we have on the Bloodline Entertainment Network. But that'll wrap things up. And have a good day, guys. And thanks for tuning in to the UFC Vegas 73 picks and prediction show. Peace.